loan that goes to the liar doesn't go to someone who's giving a more honest evaluation. In their minds, in pursuit of profit, there is no rule that cannot be bent. Avoiding taxes hurts all of us.
That didn't go over very well with the investment community because we're all asking each other, who's next?
Jon Stewart has recently came under fire from right-wingers who are desperately trying to find someone ostensibly on the left who did something even remotely close to Trump's fraud. Heads up, he didn't, and we'll get into that in this segment, but first we have to start with what put him in those crosshairs, his brutal segment exposing the silliness behind Trump's claims that his fraud had no victims, thus he shouldn't be prosecuted. And let's start with this clip here.
We're talking about a victimless crime. They find an ordinance or a law that has never been used ever before in anyone else.
He's committed bank fraud where there's no victim. It makes no sense.
No victims. There was no victim. The ruling is blatantly unfair.
That didn't go over very well with the investment community because we're all asking each other, who's next?
Who's next? The persecuted minority of the investment community. First they came for the arbitrageurs, and I said nothing.
I can barely watch Kevin O'Leary coddle Trump's balls about false valuations when he's the guy who got famous for losing his mind at insanely high valuations on Shark Tank. Why is it different in the real world? And I don't know who needs to hear this, but if capital investors are scared or worried that they might be next, our legal system is doing something right. That is a good thing. They just hoard the wealth that they get from frauding the system anyway. It's not like they think that people who need it deserve it. And if you tried to fraud the system, think how quickly they would strike down on you. What if you overvaluated the amount of children you had and you claimed 20 dependents instead of 1? Or what if you undervalued your income and you got thousands of dollars in food stamps? Do you think that Republicans would be like, it's what we all do? Or do you think they'd be like, well, they're abusing the system. We need to get rid of food stamps. So we need to stop helping poor people. It makes no sense. They're just in the pocket of their billionaire friends. Let a billionaire do exactly this and fraud banks, and every other rich guy's just like, where's the crime? They're gonna come after me next.
How is he not this mad about overvaluations in the real world? Because they are not victimless crimes. First, the banks got paid back at lower interest rates, although to be honest, who gives a shit? But second, money isn't infinite. A loan that goes to the liar doesn't go to someone who's giving a more honest evaluation. So the system becomes incentivized for corruption. And this is part of a different Trump fraud case, but avoiding taxes hurts all of us. Donald Trump's shenanigans cost the city of New York.
And I already did a breakdown in another video of how this victimless crime does actually affect us all, from the value of the banks going down, causing shareholders to lose money, making them less likely to give loans to smaller businesses or those who are more in need for them. And as he said, around $48 million in taxes were avoided that could have gone to roads, to schools, to other things that the middle and lower classes actually depend on. To pretend this is a victimless crime is to pretend the effects are not multifaceted.
I hear about the so-called victimless crimes, but the laws on the books, falsification of business records in second degree, issuing false financial statements, insurance fraud, conspiracy, and all these different aspects of it, those are actual crimes. I take it your point is that these should not have been prosecuted?
Everything you just listed off is done by every real estate developer everywhere on earth in every city. This has never, ever been prosecuted.
Prison for them all.
There is a theory in law that if enough people commit a crime, it automatically becomes legal. You're familiar with the purge, are you not?
This is actually such a wonderful way to point out the ludicrous nature of this statement. What they're basically saying is that majority rules is what runs our legal system, which, yeah, right. The other billionaires are doing it. Well, okay, who? Since you're clearly aware of other people doing it, give us the names and we'll open investigations on them as well. If you're in a room with 10 other guys and it's you and your girlfriend and 8 of them start beating her up and the other 2 look at you and they're like, well, let's stop these guys. What are they doing? Are you going to look at them and be like, a lot of people are doing it. Like, who really cares? And even more so, to dive further into this hypothetical, you catch one of those 8 guys. Everyone else gets away. Are you going to press charges on that one guy or are you going to let him go? Because, there's other people who did it that got away. This logic makes absolutely no sense.
There are not just financial consequences for those lies, but criminal ones. But don't tell that to the investment community, because in their minds, in pursuit of profit, there is no rule that cannot be bent. There is no principle that cannot be undercut, as long as you and your friends are making money. And the only immoral practice, hold on, I'm not done. If I could raise my chair up, I would. Apparently, the only immoral practice in the capitalist system is to use that money for people who may need it.
Fraud, waste, and abuse, people never want to be honest about, but a lot of these parents will, they abuse the system. A lot of them are encouraged to abuse the system.
Where do you think the money that you get for food stamps and other things come? Who do you think pays that money? Your health care. You're taking their money and you just don't seem to care.
Yep, taking money from other people, frauding the system. Republicans will be outraged about poor people doing this out of necessity. But when their rich buddies give it a crack so they can compete with each other about who can hoard the most money this month, mum is the word. And like they always do, when they flawlessly get pinned in a corner and are unable to counter the truth, they resort to pointing fingers, which is how they became focused on Jon Stewart and having the value of his property assessed at one amount and then him selling it to a private buyer for more money. Now, for people who are proponents of a free market, it should make no sense for Republicans to be mad at this. Assessed value doesn't equal market value. Market value is determined by what people are willing to pay. And in this case, it happened to be more than the assessed value. Pretty simple. And they were selling it to a private buyer. They're not valuing it at banks. It is, again, a transaction. Trump, on the other hand, wasn't selling anything. He was inflating his value, lying about what the assessed value was, only to be privy to more loans, avoiding setting aside cash reserve, and to get other benefits he otherwise wouldn't get, all by artificially raising his net worth. And then undervaluing them when it came tax time, showing that obviously he knew that he was overvaluing these properties and thus escaping the taxes as well. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together.